Hello, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a battle report with my orcs led by Krazyface against my friends, all tree army led by Drycha, I think is the way you pronounce her name. So, looking at the board here, you'll notice that in the center, and there'll be another picture of the right flank too, that there's these little felt things on the ground. These are to be representing trees, and it might be nice to actually use the right tree models, but there's going to be so much action in those trees that it was just better to use these felt pieces. And actually that square piece, that's their free one. But looking at what we have here on my side, I have some wolf riders, I have my doom diver, I have orcs, I have more orcs with a BSB, I have my single troll, my night goblins with my savage orc war boss, I have a goblin shaman on a chariot, more orcs, another chariot, two chukkas there on the hill, and then up at the very top there you can see that from his army he has a unit of dryads, a tree man, treekin. Behind them are some dryads with that Drycha, another tree man, another group of treekin, some dryads behind them. On the hill there is some more dryads, and there's a branch wraith. And then on the other flank here you can see that I had another unit of orcs, another chariot, two more chukkas, another group of wolves, and some savage orcs, and he had another unit of dryads on the far side there. He also had 3 units of dryads held in reserve. Drycha can let you kind of hide them and have them pop up. So going back to the first picture here, I can kind of say what I was thinking. So when we were first placing down terrain and he had the one woods on either side, I thought, okay, that won't be too bad. But once he placed his free woods, that creates this huge area for that bulk of his army to hide. So I already knew this was going to be a really tough fight. I've never fought these guys before. I had almost faced them in a tournament, but last second we had to switch opponents, so it was kind of about time that we'd gotten to face each other. But it really depends how he's going to play his army. If he was to go and rush through the woods and try and take me on, that'd be one thing. But I really think he's just going to try and stay in the woods, which makes all my chariots pointless. And then I really have two options. Either I should just stay back and try and pass my terror tests and go for the tie, or I need to try and rush in there, and that could be really dangerous. And really, the only way I'm going to be able to beat those tree men are either with shooting, but a lot of my shooting is blocked. I mean, right now, none of my war machines can really see any of his tree men, and I doubt that most of them ever will. And so it's really just going to be up to my war boss. My war boss, he can fight a tree man on his own, but yeah, I think it's going to be a tough fight, but we'll see what I can do. So I win first turn. I have my wolves running up there. My troll and my night goblins move up slightly, just mainly get off the hill, but also to be ready if I need to charge something that comes into the woods. And then on the right flank, I know there's going to be some stuff going to the right woods, so I'm having my savage orcs and my other unit of orcs here that's in the center screen right now moving kind of towards it, and my chariots are trying to move up while not blocking line of sight to those two chukkas, because right now the chukkas can see some treekin, and the target for the chariots will be that one unit of dryads that was up on his hill that had his branch wraith in it, because if I can kill that, that's some good points and some magic out of his army. I also had my right wolves run up to his top right flank, and so right now my idea with the wolves will be just to kind of contest his table quarters, because I think this one's going to come down to be pretty close. And when I do my shooting, my shooting didn't do anything this turn, and I'm not going to mention my magic. I just have 2 level 1s. At the odd time I did get a spell off, but I never did anything, so yeah. Alright, so the tree army turn 1, and you can see Drycha there is that green model. So anyway, he kind of rushes up here to where the trees are, and unfortunately that right unit there, that was the one on the hill, and that's the one with the branch wraith, you can't really tell because it's not painted different color or anything, but that was a little bit disappointing, because now I really didn't think I'd be able to get them. So, but whatever, he goes into there, his other units of dryads on the right side move up into the trees, but yeah, you know, like, there's not a lot that he can do. He has no real shooting until those tree men get into range, and I was actually surprised that he has a ton of magic. I thought that, you know, with my 8 dispel dice, and his pool is at -1 because of the staff of sneaky stealing, that I'd have a huge advantage in the magic phase. But it's just, he has 4 bound tree singings, because there's 1 for each tree man, and the Drycha can do it twice, and then the Drycha and the Brand's Wraith can cast it again. So I'm trying to stop 6 of these each time, and then he has more dice to cast another spell after. So I barely stopped it all this time because I didn't want to block my Chariots of the Woods, thanks to a scroll this time. But wow, I mean, just a lot of magic when it doesn't really seem like it. And then here's just a quick picture of the right side, where he was just running into the woods here. And we're at Orc's turn 2. So the dice there represents a failed animosity. Didn't really matter at this point. But what happened here is, I thought that I should still try and go for it, for that right Dryads with the Brand's Wraith, because it looked like I knew my Goblin Shaman Chariot was in range, and I thought maybe my Chariot was. I purposely made sure they're both within leadership range of my War Boss, and so I tried charging up there to see if I could quickly take that out. My Shaman Chariot got in there, but unfortunately my Boar Chariot was out of range, even when I pulled them back towards that one Chariot when they had to line up. And in combat, you know, I only did 1 wound, and then he did a wound to my Shaman Chariot, and then I broke and ran. Or actually, not to my Chariot, to my Shaman. So that was kind of depressing, because not only did I fail to take out this unit, and now I'm probably not going to have another chance, but also on his turn I'm going to be down to spell dice, and I won't be able to use the scroll. So, what can you do, right? And then here on the right flank, I'm just kind of looking over to make sure I pin these guys in. You know, it seems like it's a real waste having these 2 units looking at the 1, but remember, he has 3 more units that could be popping up, and if nothing else, these guys can get the almost 100 points for these guys and then take the table quarters. So it's just, you know, there's only so much that can go to the woods on the left anyway, so I figure that it's a worthy cause. So, Wood Elves turn 2. So what he does is he's not moving up too much. He moves a treeman up in the flank. Some of his units kind of move up with his treekin over there, and all that stuff. He'd actually, with his Drycha and his Wraiths, they charged my 1 Chariot, the Boar Chariot that had the failed charge, and I fled and got away. But even though they're out in the open now, I have nothing that can really deal with them, because my Chariot's going to block my boys there on the right, even if I declared my Wa, and yeah, there's not much I can do. In his magic phase, he moved up both those woods, and then that brought his right tree man to be close enough to do strangle roots, and he killed a whole 7 night goblins. So that unit's pretty decreased. And then here's just a quick picture of the right flank here, where they're just kind of hiding inside the woods. And I'll cover the rest of the game in the next video.